Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Jack Townsend and Nick Elliott. Coming up on this week's show.
There's no denying, I think that I could get City to probably the quarterfinals with that same budget. I do.
Make sure you book a few days off work after the Watercress Festival.
So, lads, who would win in a fight, Pep or Tuchel?
Can you just add in rules if someone gets too far ahead at too early in the season? It's automatic point reduction.
Do you not think I'd even make it to the knockouts?
Man City can officially win the league this weekend with one more win after second place Man United had their defence compromised last week. And that's just by the fans. But it leaves us asking the question, what is there left to play for this season? Fourth place? Golden Boot? Or even just seeing if Mourinho can fit in one more sacking this year? What's keeping your interest, Andy?
Well, not on the top of the table, that's for sure, because City are running away with it. And I don't know, I feel like we've seen that a lot recently. Like there's a team that's just ran away with it. I just feel like we were spoiled when we were growing up, with like the Arsenal Man United battles in particular. For starters, it shows that we need to get everyone on a level playing field next year for a more exciting league. Because it is tough. It is tough to get yourself motivated for like a Liverpool-Arsenal clash, but it's like 7th v 9th.
Can you just add in rules if someone gets too far ahead at too early in the season? It's automatic point reduction.
Yeah, but it's true though, isn't it? It's honestly like it's so boring. And even the relegation zone, I don't know if I can't believe I've seen that wrapped up as quickly as it has been. So I reckon Sky Sports must be struggling for content, really. I mean, that's why they've obviously had to hype up the top four race, which is interesting. And I actually think it's more interesting than what it actually looks like. Because I think on paper, Chelsea are in fourth place. They are the best. They are probably the best team on paper. But actually, when you dig deeper into it, they've obviously got Europe to be really thinking about. I mean, that's a massive thing. FA Cup, they're in that, right? They're in the FA Cup final as well. And actually, when you look at the fixtures, so Chelsea...
They've got City, Arsenal, Leicester and Villa for their last 4 games, which aren't easy.
No, but then you look and then say, just let's look at Liverpool, for instance. They've got Southampton at home, Palace at home, and then Burnley and West Brom away. I know West Brom's obviously not easy because they're battling against relegation, but if you wanted 4 games, plus obviously the United one whenever that happens, if you wanted like that could easily be 5 wins. And West Ham as well. I mean, fair play to West Ham. Like, they've got a pretty decent run in as well. Top 4 is really, really interesting. And I actually think Liverpool might get top 4. I think that's where I'm putting my money. Probably Spurs fans are thinking, why have I not spoken about them? Well, it's because it's Spurs. I mean, I know they are currently 2 points above Liverpool, but Liverpool have got a game in hand. I don't know, just, everyone's... I mean, I saw Match the Day did a piece at the weekend going about Gareth Bale's goal ratio and how, like, he's got the best goals to game ratio. And I'm like, yeah, but he's just scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United. Like, they're one of the worst Premier League teams you've ever seen. And it was great to see, but ultimately, whether he's been given the chance or not, he hasn't proven it regularly enough to justify probably the biggest wages in the Premier League. It's got to be in the top 5 at least. So
he's literally scoring goals at a quicker rate than anyone else in the league this season. He's scoring a goal every 80 minutes in the Premier League.
Yes, but that's why I don't think that's why stats are fair on that though. He literally scored 3 against Sheffield United in a complete no tie for them. I mean,
why isn't all the other players just scoring 3 against Sheffield United if it's so easy?
Well, probably playing Sheffield United at a more important point in the season for starters. I mean, Sheffield United have not always been this bad. I mean, particularly when they played Wilder. But I think the wider point is that I don't think there can be many positives spoken about Gareth Bale's season, and yet we're trying to find some out because he scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United. And again, I love Gareth Bale, by the way. I'm just saying he's not been the Gareth Bale that we expected.
If at the start of the season he would say, right, okay, I'm going to score a goal every 80 minutes in the Premier League, everyone would have been like, yeah, fair play. Can't ask for much more than that, really. And that's what he's done. Maybe, obviously you say maybe he could have scored more overall goals. Maybe he should have played more minutes overall. He spent a long time sitting on the bench under Mourinho.
Hold fire on the chat for a few minutes as it's time for the 4 to Score challenge. This week, our sponsor Betway has set us the challenge on the topic of postponed matches since Man United versus Liverpool was forced to reschedule after last weekend's drama at Old Trafford. I have prepared some questions about matches that have been postponed for unusual reasons in the past. So let's see if you can tell the fact from the fiction. Okay, question 1. Why was a match between Torquay and Portsmouth cancelled in 1999? The A, tornado warning, B, burst riverbank, or C, solar eclipse?
Oh,
Clips, come
oh,
on. Did the entire football calendar get cancelled that weekend for that then?
Thanks for your answers. The answer is C, solar eclipse.
What?
yes.
Yeah. The club cancelled it because they were afraid of an influx of tourists to see the solar eclipse. Question 2. A Southwest Peninsula Division 1 East match between Teignmouth and Crediton United was postponed with 3 days to go because what important piece of equipment failed to arrive on time? Was it A, the corner flags, B, the goalposts, or C, the grass? Juicer Henry says it's pronounced Teignmouth.
Where the band Muse originate from. There's an extra fact for you.
The answer is B, goalposts. Goalposts
Damn.
arrive on
Yes.
time. And as you know, they are pretty important in a game of football. Can't just stick a jumper down. Question 3. Frome Town moved a 2015 game against Chippenham Town so that it wouldn't clash with what local event? A, the Frome Garlic Festival. B, the Frome Watercress Festival. C, the Frome Cheese Festival.
There's absolutely no way there's a watercress festival. There's no way.
Oh, mate, it's big. It's big
All
time.
right, well,
There is, but not there.
yeah, you're right, Jack. There is a watercress festival for somewhere else that I took for inspiration. So you're all right. It's the Cheese Festival.
Make sure you book a few days off work after the Watercress Festival. Big
It's
time.
crazy. All right, it is 2-2 as it stands, but you will have to stick around to find out who wins this week's 4 to Score challenge because right now it's back to the football chat. Who do you think is going to get the golden boot at this rate? Because it seems to be pretty close between Salah and Kane, right?
Yeah, I reckon Kane. Yeah, I mean, like I say, Liverpool maybe got a good run in for Salah, but I don't know. I'd quite like to see Kane finish as top goal scorer, top assist provider. Really, I mean, he's been fast. I don't think that's been done since Luis Suarez in 2013-14, where the same player's done both. And then before that, I think it would have been Henry, in like the early noughties. So it's a rare achievement, especially with like these days how big assists have become. I mean, like when Henry did it in the early noughties, people almost weren't even registering assists. They weren't.
Yeah.
But now it's obviously such a big measure of kind of playmakers and stuff. We've seen in recent years with like De Bruyne and all that winning it. It's like, well, actually, they do actually have whoever gets it actually gets a little trophy now, don't they? It's like best.
Do they
playmaker.
Actually?
What does it look like?
Well, it's a
A
little
golden
weight.
assist.
A little weight. So like it has become more of a thing now. So it kind of feels like if Kane actually does both, especially for a team that might finish outside the top 4, that's pretty impressive, really.
Before we move on, we've got to talk about Jose Mourinho briefly, who I've noticed he worked with one of our panel for one day. So he worked. Andy Taylor was responsible. He was there, amongst others, on the day filming his announcement video when he worked for TalkSport. He works one day with Andy Taylor, and a week later, he's like, "Get me out of this country," and he becomes the manager over him. What did you say to the man, Andy?
I didn't say it, but I was itching to talk about Jota. I really was. I was going to try and give him the old spiel about when I met him when he was 17 and,
Never got the chance. Did you say anything to him?
Not really. Just asked him for sound levels on his microphone, really. Yeah. Pretty nice guy, actually.
Yeah.
I've got no bad words to say about him. I mean, as soon as he met Alan Brazil, he was talking. I mean, they were just talking about which golf courses are the best in the Algarve.
Didn't get any tips for the good golf courses in Italy then?
No. On that note, though, on the Jota note, Roma's boss, Paolo Fonseca, or their former boss, was the guy that I went for lunch with a few years ago. And he's genuinely a very, very good coach. He would be perfect for the Premier League for someone.
Maybe it's going to be a straight swap.
Honestly, I think he could do all right at Spurs. I know Spurs fans will be like, "Oh God, don't even know who he is." Awful, but he's a very good manager, very successful manager. I mean, it's probably just not quite clicked for him at Roma.
When Mourinho rocks up at Roma, he's going to go, right, who have we got then? Oh, Chris Smalling. Oh, yeah, you hate me. You hate me, that's fine. Oh, Mkhitaryan. Oh, yeah, I used you completely wrong. Pedro. Last time I saw you, we were in the bottom half of the Premier League together at Chelsea. God, those were crazy times. Anyway, let's get out there and get to training, lads.
Man City qualified for the very first Champions League final last night, as of recording, after beating PSG 2-0 at the Etihad. Allegedly, Sir Alex Ferguson spoke to the PSG squad before the game, but it looks like it's time to check the warranty on that hairdryer. So, lads, he's done it with the citizens. Do you think Pep will go all the way?
I think we mentioned it with Danny Mills when he was on the show, didn't we? Are we happy to say that Pep is just a world-class manager and it is nothing to do with the £1 billion spent? Because I think that is the easy thing that most people that don't like City have come out and said. Even Simon Jordan, TalkSport, came out and said, "Oh, well done, mate. £1 billion. You finally got to your first Champions League final in 10 years." That's fair enough. But I do agree with Danny Mills when he was saying that it's a different art form to manage people at that level and like of those wage budgets and stuff. I do think he deserves a lot of credit. There's no denying. I think that I could get City to probably the quarterfinals with that same budget. I do. But, so he's gone 2 steps further than what I could do. Honestly, do you reckon I could? Do you reckon I could get them to the quarters? Do you reckon I could?
No chance.
Squad.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because they wouldn't respect you.
So what? They're just going to down tools because they don't like me?
What's your style of play? What's trademark Andy Taylor?
Get it down in the right moments. Know when to shell it forward though when you need to. And there's no denying I probably would want to bring in a bit more kind of strength up top. I want to bring in a bit more of a target man. I don't think that physically.
Like Diego Costa.
Yeah, I might even bring Zeko back. I think just someone like that, just when you need to throw him on. Because that's what I would be all about. I'd be happy to just shell it. The last 20 minutes if we need to.
This is potentially the difference between you and Pep Guardiola. Guardiola's gone, actually, he's not really working with Aguero and Jesus, so we're just going to play with no forward. We're just going to play with a loose false 9 system with Foden, De Bruyne interchanging. Oh, look at that, we're going to win 3 trophies. Whereas you've straight away gone, not quite working. We need Andy Carroll.
We need a bobbly pitch.
Yes, we need to think about the bobbly pitches.
I like the idea that they get a fork at half time to give bobbles rather than get rid of boggles.
No, look, as hypothetical as it is, I really appreciate the job that Pep's doing. And I'm obviously being tongue in cheek, but do you not think I'd even make it to the knockouts?
So can you get yourself a Football Manager and we do a little test?
Honestly, I'm really successful on Football Manager, so that's not.
This is a common thing, Andy's not alone here in that, a lot of people, fans at any kind of level, fans that know a lot less about football than Andy, kind of secretly think they would actually be able to do a decent job. Do you know what I mean? I know you're being tongue in cheek, but there are a lot of people that genuinely do think they could probably get City to the quarterfinals of the Champions League by just naming the 11 best players and letting them
go out there and have fun. That's what matters most, and just give them one of these.
I think the main thing is the respect element. I think that's it. When I walk into the training ground on day one, Aguero is filing a transfer request. Like, what on earth is this? Whereas Pep Guardiola walks in, and there's probably only 5 people in management that could probably have the impact that he has. When you see him for the first time, there's a guaranteed feeling in their chests going, "Wow!" Like a few butterflies go. I need to really prove myself to him. I do genuinely believe, not me, but a manager of say someone like David Moyes' level, I do think he could get City to the quarters of the Champions League. I do think their squad is that good, and maybe that's taken a little bit away from the recruitment.
But the gap between Guardiola and David Moyes is a lot shorter than the gap between you and Guardiola.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I was hypothetical. I'm just saying it's like I think we need to appreciate Pep gets them that extra level. I think a lot of managers could get a good tune out of City, but Pep gets that extra little bit, and perhaps he doesn't get that credit for that kind of. Just seeing Phil Foden, look, honestly, what he's done with Phil Foden, him alone makes me actually excited for the Euros.
With Foden, have you ever had a player so quickly go from? It's really not that long ago we were sort of saying, Foden's got a good chance of making the squad for the Euros. That was it. That was kind of the actually he's doing all right. He's got a good chance of making the squad. And now we're talking. Now we're talking. He has to start. He has to start every game.
Yeah.
I can't ever think of a player who's maybe Rooney, but who's quite so quickly gone from he might make the squad to if he doesn't start, it's a disgrace.
Do you think he's finally the definition of a generational talent? I feel like that phrase gets thrown around every single week when someone does well, but I do think he does have something different, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, that like little dribble he did, which was it was Messi-esque dribble, and I'm not saying he's going to be like Messi. It's not a comparison between the two players, but
yeah.
he did he did a little like the way he kind of skipped over the challenges and then like carried through, and the way he laid it off. It was just weird because Messi has quite a unique way of like dribbling, and you don't really see it very often. And again, not saying he's going to be the same level or anything like that, but there are little things you see in certain players where you think, oh, there's something there. That's not going to go away anytime soon.
That Man City result means that this coming weekend we may have a rehearsal for the Champions League final as they face Chelsea, who played their semi-final second leg against Real Madrid. Though this show is recorded on Wednesday before the match tonight, so feel free to disregard anything we say, although I think that's good advice in general. So, lads, who would win in a fight, Pep or Tuchel?
I
I think is what we really need to know.
I reckon Tuchel will be a quite dirty fighter.
Pep had a little tackle him in him as a player, didn't he?
I think
He
he'd be a
might
bit
get
scrappy, yeah.
The only two times that City have been blunted recently, obviously one was Leeds, but we don't need to talk about that again, was when the FA Cup semi-final, obviously when they didn't really lay a glove on Chelsea. And Chelsea ended up winning 1-0.
Yeah.
And that's what stopped the treble. Because, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, City are going to win the treble. You can't win the treble unless you win the main domestic cup, which is the FA Cup in this country. So you can win 3 trophies, but I'm afraid, lads, that's not an official treble.
Is this an official term? Is this a protected term?
It is, yeah. There's an actual registered list of who's actually won the treble.
Really?
It's still good, but it's not a treble.
Well, the one player that we need to talk about is Sergio Aguero. Who's top scorer in this fixture? It's obviously Sergio Aguero. So he's got 13 goals in this fixture. I mean, in terms of Premier League, in terms of Dream Team, it is actually a double game week for a lot of sides next week. Perhaps you wouldn't be getting Sergio Aguero in your Dream Team, but for this game in isolation, I think it's going to be Aguero. He looked lively. He just looked like he had a little bit of a half yard of pace, which I haven't seen. Literally haven't seen this season from him.
It looks like he's been in the gym. He's got some biceps on him.
I mean, I'm also just fascinated just to see what happens to him. Because no denying that he's a gamble for someone. And it's going to have to be someone who's pretty strong financially to probably assume that he's going to miss 50% of the season. I honestly, I can't look anywhere further than City, to be honest. I think Chelsea are going to it's going to be a big old slog against Real Madrid. They're going to have to change it around. And let's be honest, their second string just isn't as good as Man City's. City are going to be playing Sterling, Aguero, Jesus, Rodri, Laporte. Like, these are all like serial winners in their career. And I'm not saying Chelsea's second string is bad, but it's not that level, is it?
Now, it's come to my attention that there are apparently other leagues outside of the Premier League in England. And not only that, that's where Norwich have been playing this past year. I thought I kept missing them on Match of the Day, really. But long-time viewers of the show will remember that Teemu Pukki was a favourite of ours when Norwich were last promoted. And Nick, you made a very astute prediction that he would score at least 7 goals, was it?
Well, no, I said he'd score exactly 7 goals.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
And what did he end up on in the end? I think it was
8 or 9, something like that.
it was astute for that 1 week when he hit 7, and then slightly became less accurate. But he's coming back, so you can have a second crack at it. Nick, any predictions this time around?
6.
Only 6, or at least
he's a bit older now, isn't he? So
yeah, he is. A couple of years later now.
Just for comparison, so in his first year in the Championship for Norwich, he scored 30 goals. And then he went on to score 11 Premier League goals. And then this year he's currently got 26 goals. But I do think Norwich are actually a better outfit, though. So maybe he's got better supply. He's got Todd Cantwell with another couple of years behind him. Buendia again with another couple of years behind him.
Buendia has been, maybe Ivan Toney, but Buendia has been the best player in the Championship. And he's absolutely unreal. He's far too good. I still can't believe that nobody bought him last year.
Seems like a Leeds player. I feel like I'm surprised Leeds didn't go in for him.
I would have absolutely loved him. He would have suited us perfectly as well. But I think even bigger clubs than us, more established clubs, could have had him. He could have played for Liverpool. He's that good. And actually, in the Premier League, okay, he didn't score. He struggled to score goals, but he should have been among the top assist providers in the Premier League last year. He basically created, I think, only Alexander-Arnold and De Bruyne and Grealish created more chances than him. And also, he was like the only player who wasn't a defender or defensive midfielder in the top 20 tackles. So he's like unreal pressing, unmatched defensive contribution for someone in his position, and up there with Grealish, De Bruyne, etc. for chances created for a team that finished 20th. Put him in a team like Liverpool, he would have gone galactic. And that wouldn't have been weird either, because Liverpool have done they bought Robertson when he just got relegated. Yeah. They bought Wijnaldum when he just got relegated. It would have sort of fitted their recruitment pattern, really. But yeah, I'm interested to see what he'll do next season, because he did actually struggle for goals. That's one thing where he couldn't quite translate it. But he's, like Andy said, he's got a bit more experience and under his belt now.
Well, we have to find out who won our 4 to Score challenge this week. It was 2-2 when we last left it, so let's see what happened. Final question, question 4. In 2009, Marseille's Velodrome Stadium was unavailable for their second home game of the season, following the collapse of the stage before a concert by which famous musician? A, U2, B, Madonna, or C, Coldplay?
Can I have the year again, please, Sean?
2009.
Madonna's touring.
You a Madonna fan, Jack?
Yeah, who doesn't like a bit of Madonna?
Sounds like a true Madonna fan. I have all your answers now.
Have we all given different answers, or we?
No, 2 of you have given the same answer. Only 1 of you have given the right answer.
Oh.
The answer is Madonna.
Yes.
Congratulations,
No!
Nick. Hard luck. Hard luck, Andy and John.
I was really doubting myself as well, because I was like, have I just put that because we've been talking about it?
Congratulations to Nick. You are this week's winner of the 4 to Score challenge.
Guys,
here is your trophy. Enjoy.
You Madonna.
It's a little golden Madonna.
It's a little golden Madonna. It's in the post, and a kilo of watercress as well. So go easy on it. Don't eat it all at once. Well, that's all from us, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. Best of luck with your dream teams, and we will see you again next week.